Ooh, Cummings here. Thank you as always for tuning in. Today's Best Served Podcast 391. We're going to be talking restaurant family legacy. We're going to be talking Brazilian food, Portuguese cuisine with Carlos and Victor of Ipanema, New York based brothers. This obviously, for anybody who follows us, you know, family legacy is so important in the restaurant industry. I'm fifth generation and worked with my brother as well. So their story really, really resonated with me on a personal level. And even just talking to them for a couple minutes before we're starting this recording here, I can definitely tell that the family ties run deep. So I'm excited to get into it. So I'm going to cut my intro part really short because I want to get both of them in here now and get to talking about their family. Carlos, good to see you. Victor, good to see you as well. I am really excited as I mentioned, because the restaurants family is something that we throw that word around all the time. We're like a family, but you're a business and you need to run that business. But you all are a family and have been in the restaurant industry for, generations now. So I want to take people first. I want to tell people about Ipanema. So please, one of you kind of give us the elevator pitch on what Ipanema is all about. And then I'd love the other to kind of tell us a little bit about the family legacy.
Victor, you want to take the pitch?
Sure, yeah. So the latest modern version of Ipanema is basically elevating our previous iteration of Ipanema, which was a Portuguese Brazilian family home style recipes. And now we have our chef Giancarlo, who has tweaked a lot of the recipes and elevated them and changed a lot of the techniques. We have hired a great cocktail consultant from Brazil who's curated our new cocktail list. So just in every aspect of the restaurant, we've elevated and refined to the interiors as well. We just finished a year-long renovation of our new space, which has a great private dining room with a bunch of family artifacts, which we kind of call our family room. It fits about 20 people in a private room, and as well a cocktail lounge that's soon to be open on the second floor.
Nice. And so you mentioned the most current iteration. I did want to know, has Ipanema been running contiguously throughout, kind of from your father down to you, or is this a new restaurant with the same name?
Right. So my father opened in 1979. It was originally called Brazilian Coffee. And then it switched a couple of times, and it eventually opened as Ipanema on 46th Street in Little Brazil. And that has been open. Yeah. So the menu has been the same since 1979. So Ipanema has going on almost 50 years.
Yeah. And 1979 is actually when it entered our family. It was in existence since 1962. My dad was one of those guys who, had an office job, worked in a very white collar environment, just kind of lost it one day and said, I need to be in front of people, and just jumped right into it. And yeah, we've had it in one location or another since then.
That is unbelievable. I mean, 5 years is multiple lifetimes in the restaurant industry. 50 years for just, your family, and that's unbelievable. The staying power. I can't even do that calculus. Like, the math of that is well beyond me, and I think most of us in this industry. And so I want to, and as always, everybody in the comments, there's an article, 6 questions with Carlos and Victor, where we get into some of the more details, the family legacy, Brazilian, Portuguese cuisine, as always, advice for new restaurateurs. I do want to go back and talk again about kind of that family legacy a little bit. When did you all, I'm sure you're forced child labor at the restaurant at an early age, right? I'm sure there was a lot of that. But when did the two of you, and please Carlos start and then Victor, when did you decide that this was a path for you long term, that this was something that you wanted to actually be in the family business?
Yeah, I'm sure Victor feels the same way. I don't think there was a moment where that triggered, and I honestly think we have floated in and out of that feeling many times. But it's always been there. Even if it's been a central focus of the family at times, other times it's been in the periphery. It's always kind of been there. We've floated in and out. There's times when I've been there working. There's times when I haven't been stepped inside for years when I was in college, but it's just always been a present a presence, in our family. And I'd say when I really started getting serious about it was probably when we moved into our second location on 46th Street. And that was kind of a moment in time where we were really talking as a family about, do we want to keep this thing going? And it was kind of like, you know what? Yeah, we want, it would almost feel like a family member was passing on if we just let it go. Wow. So we just wanted to keep it alive. And that was the first moment where I kind of had a, real thoughtful, I'm going to make this, work, and I'm going to keep it going. And that was, I think 2015, 16, Victor. Do you remember exactly what year that was?
15.
15.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah, and talk about that then, Victor. Pick that up from there, because you have it in your family for so long that you kind of just always assume it's always going to be there, and then all of a sudden, if you don't put forth kind of the effort and invest whatever time you need to into it, it won't. And so you have to make a decision there. What was that like, and what was kind of the thought process of buying in and going all in on this business, this industry?
Yeah, I'm going to echo that feeling of like it was a family member that was going to pass away if we let it close. I went to hospitality school. My dad had kind of sold me on that vision of being your own boss and going to hospitality school. My original intention was actually working in hotels. I was a front desk manager at a college, and then when I moved back from Boston was when I kind of jumped back into it. And I moved back 2014, so it was right when we were moving locations and considering shutting down or opening, when my brother kind of pushed us to keep it open. And yeah, I mean, I stepped in, learned a lot from my dad, more than I ever have, even though we were working here and there as kids, doing napkin folding and running credit cards. But that was when he really kind of mentored us and drilled it into us all the things you really need to know, and how to treat all the guests. So there's really nobody in terms of PR and talking to guests that can do it better than he can. So it was just a great person to learn from. And yeah, that was the moment that we really kind of went full force with it.
I love that. And I appreciate that. I wanted to spend a big chunk of time with the two of you, of really like crystallizing what it means to invest so much of yourself into such a difficult business for such a long period of time. We're such instant gratification. Our loop closes very quickly in the restaurant and hospitality industry. Your stance on patience, again, read the article, people, on patience, Victor, was really poignant to me. And so I want to spend some time with that, because I don't think we slow down enough to think about why the hell we're doing this, and the fact that you all as a family had to really sit down and come to terms with that. And now this is what you've come up with, this amazing iteration of what Ipanema is capable of, what Brazilian and Portuguese food is capable of. And so I want to take just a couple minutes. Carlos, let's talk Portuguese, and then Victor, let's talk Brazilian. What do people need to know? What is that sense of feeling, of food, of family when they walk into Ipanema that's really representing your Portuguese heritage?
Yeah, I think for anyone who's been to Portugal, they'll know that Portuguese people are very warm, very welcoming, and they just want to nourish people in every way, not just in terms of filling them up with food, but just kind of it's just a very welcoming place, and I think that's what we want Ipanema to be. We do want to elevate things a little bit, because we just feel like this cuisine deserves it a little bit. But at the core, we want people to feel comfortable. We want people to feel like they're at home. Part of our interior design is even trying to bring the family aspect into the restaurant to make people realize they are at a family restaurant.
The family room. So, I love that.
Yeah, we've got Easter eggs in our private dining room, like on the shelves. I'll stick in like one of my law school books, or like something that's been on my shelves for a long time, or a paperweight that I had in college, or there's little Easter eggs there, and that's for all of us. It's like an extension of all of our homes. We have a room there that's our family room.
Absolutely perfect. And yeah, there's this sense of the food and the family aspect. I think that Portuguese cuisine translates. It's not as flashy as other cuisines, right? It's not as as highfalutin as a lot. So I think I appreciate that you're building this foundation. Now, on the flip side, Victor, Brazilian food, very flashy, right? Like that culture is so exuberant. There's so much happening there. And fortunately, unfortunately, maybe it's a little bit of catch-22. We all know the red and green card, stick, whatever it might be, to be able to get your slice of meat off there. Love that was a foundational entry point. You're trying to go a lot further. So how are you representing the Brazilian side of what's happening at Ipanema?
Yeah, of course. Like you said, it's a very confident culture. The people of Brazil are very boisterous and joyful and confident. And I feel like the cuisine outside of Brazil in America really hasn't been given that same respect. It's more the churrascaria that you mentioned. So we're trying to elevate certain dishes and using ingredients that we just respect, like the dende oil you mentioned, and certain coconut milk. And so we have a muqueca, which we have a vegan version as well. That is slightly different than your classic muqueca.
And tell people, classically, muqueca, a fish stew, like such an amazing dish.
Right, yeah, with some African influence. It's generally a spicier dish, which you wouldn't think hot culture is spicy, but Indian African cultures use spices a lot in the heat as well. So the northern parts of Brazil, they use those spices as well in a dish called vatapá, which is a bread-based stew as well. It's a similar to muqueca, but a bread base, which is also pretty spicy. So yeah, we're just trying to use ingredients and respect the ingredients that people don't really see in Brazilian cuisine as much as they should.
I love hearing that. One thing I know about the Brazilian people is they never show up on time and they party till 4 a.m. Those are the two things that I know about my Brazilian friends and friends of the family. Is they are the most heartfelt people you could imagine. So the food and culture that you're representing, it's very much like you have salt of the earth Portuguese and just the most heartfelt and exuberant people. And you're connecting all those dots. Unbelievably challenging operationally from a brand standpoint. And you're doing it so well, so fluidly. So I really respect that for sure. So, and your chef and pastry chef, you mentioned your chef's Giancarlo is doing some amazing things to kind of elevate. What does it mean to have kind of a team like that can really take the vision and the family legacy and kind of take it into its next generation? What does that mean for you all as owner operators, as a family?
Yeah, I know I'm personally really proud of the team we've built. I'd be lying actually if I even said that the vision from day one of the new Ipanema was this final result. It kind of happened organically. We went out to just do what we call Ipanema 3, which is the third location in Manhattan over the 40 something years. Just make it better. Just make everyone better than the last one. And when we found this team, our chef Giancarlo, our chef de cuisine Andre, and our pastry chef Alejandra all met each other at Temple Court and have all in their own way done really great things in different restaurants and have come back together. And we kind of talking with them, making decisions here and there, it kind of led us along this path. And right now we have an amazing kitchen. It's a scratch kitchen. We make things in house. I mean, we do things that other restaurants aren't doing because it doesn't even make sense to do it. It certainly doesn't make fiscal sense, to make your own bread and your own this and your own that. And but it's the difference on the plate. You can taste it on the plate. So all I can say is, it wasn't the plan from day one, but I'm really proud of how we, the final result.
Love that. Victor, I'll give you the last thought because you mentioned how important investing in people is. Again, everybody, plug in the article. Really good stuff in there. You mentioned investing in people being one of the most important aspects of your business. And you have this team. You allowed them to be able to invest in themselves into the concept, which isn't commonplace with something that's so well established. So, what has that meant for you all to be so collaborative? Kind of give us some last thoughts there.
Yeah, it's meant everything, honestly. I think not only is Giancarlo super talented, I think what made us feel very comfortable from the get-go also is because he comes from a very similar background. He's been in the kitchen since he was a little kid. His parents owned a restaurant in Brazil that he was a major part of. So it gave us a sense of, comfortability. that he was going to respect the restaurant. And although he wanted to take it forward, he was going to respect the name and the history behind it. So, you know, we invested heavily in him because he felt very connected to our family pretty much from an early stage. But yeah, I think that's the key to business in general, not just restaurant industry, is just investing in your people, because they're your brand ambassadors to your guests. They're going to treat your restaurant as well as you treat them. So in order to keep them and have them keep being your best brand ambassadors, you just have to treat them as well as possible.
That's exactly it. And the fact that you all have such shared vision and kind of aligned experiences really makes that really pop. I think that's important. So Carlos and Victor, thank you so much for all the work that you're doing out there. We need more visionaries, more leading voices in our industry. And I absolutely love what you all are doing. So appreciate you all. And I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right. Cheers. All right, everybody, that is it for this episode. Once again, this was Best Served Podcast 391, and we are talking restaurant family legacy, Brazilian food, Portuguese cuisine with Carlos and Victor from Ipanema in New York. Now the third iteration of Ipanema, over 50 years of their family, 1962, the original. I can't believe that level of staying power is unbelievable, and just really, really great to hear them talking about balancing the restaurant business side, investing in people, and being able to put your culture at the forefront of what you're doing. Being able to tell that story means a lot of good advice to take from what that family has been up to. That's it. Appreciate you all. Cheers.